In this episode, I'm going to be talking about what to do when things don't go your way. Stay tuned, I'll be right back. Welcome to The Long Run with Joel and Christy. I'm Joel, flying solo today, and I'm going to be talking about what to do when things don't go your way. Now, we all make plans, at least I hope you do. I hope you set goals. I hope you plan out your life. I hope you're not just flying by the seat of your pants. If you are, that's okay. You do you. I like to make plans. I like schedules, and I like lists, and I like all those things that keep my life ordered. And so we set goals. Christy and I set goals every year. You've probably seen that video or read that blog, or to see our goals for the year. We update those at least once a month, just to see how we're doing, and so it kind of keeps us on track. It keeps us doing things, and it keeps us excited about what's coming in the future. But what happens when you lose sight of your goals? Or what happens if something comes along like coronavirus that kind of derails your goals, or derails your plans, or makes you have to change courses or something like that? What do? How do you handle it? A lot of people, they don't handle change well. They don't handle obstacles that are thrown their way kind of like all of a sudden, and they don't handle those things well, and they get stressed out. They start doing things they wouldn't normally do. They spend money they wouldn't normally spend. They do a lot of things that they wouldn't normally do. And so I want to just share with you today some of the things that has happened to us, has happened to me personally, and some of the ways that I've handled those things, and some of the ways that hopefully you can handle those things as well. Maybe not specifically for this situation, for this coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, situation, because we're in the process of moving past that, hopefully. But something will come up again. You can be sure of that. You can be sure of one thing in your life, that things are going to change. And it's not always going to be in your favor. So how do you handle those things? How do you handle the stress that comes into your life? I want to share some of those things with you today. There are 3 things that kind of happened to me this over the last 6 weeks to 2 months that have just really defined my year 2020. We all started the year 2020. It's vision year, right? It's 2020. We're seeing with 2020 vision. I know our pastor, a lot of preachers around the country were preaching from that context this year. But Lord knows nobody foresaw what was about to come, starting in late January, February, March, really hitting in March, and really shutting things down. But like I said earlier, we do set some goals, and I did set some goals this year. I set running goals, I set reading goals, some of those things that kind of keep me on track. And so I haven't missed my reading goals. I'm still on track with those. Actually, I'm 1 book ahead on what I'm supposed to be reading. So I've read 1 more book than I was supposed to, we're supposed to read 1 book a month. But also when you're in quarantine, you have a little more time on your hands. So I have got some of those, an extra book done so far this year, and maybe might get sneak 2 in this month as well. So that goal is still on track. The one goal that's really kind of been messed with this year, as far as my personal life goes, my goal life, is that I set a goal to run the Chicago Marathon. I time qualified. I registered, paid the entrance fee, got accepted, was ready to go. We had started making plans for that, and then coronavirus hit. And if you know anything about road races or running in general, it is a group sport. At the Chicago Marathon, you'll probably see somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 35,000 people in the race. So social distancing is not a thing in a road race. I mean, you have to be right there at the start line. You have to be scrunched up with a lot of people. And so a lot of the races around town, 2 of the races that I had signed up for in April got canceled. So we were able to run those virtually, which means that I did for a half marathon that I had signed up for that got canceled. I ran 13.1 miles, and then I sent in my Strava data to the race organizers, and they'll send me all of my bling and my T-shirt and everything for that. So that's kind of a way that you can keep on your goals. But for things like the Chicago Marathon, there's really no substitute for running that race. I ran it back in 2012, and I was hoping to beat my time this year. I didn't see any reason why I couldn't do that. But because of the coronavirus, I'm sure the race is still going to go on. It's in October, but just because of moving and all those things that's happening, and just kind of unsure about what the future was, they gave us the option of deferring our entry until next year. And that window opened up today, which was May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. So I took advantage of that. So I postponed my Chicago Marathon entry until 2021, and I will run that race next year instead of this year. So there's one goal I won't be able to fulfill this year. And for me, as an avid runner and a person who always tries to always finish what he starts, that was very hurtful for me, that I wasn't going to be able to run that race. I loved it the first time I ran it, and I was looking for to enjoy the experience of running that race a little bit better. But in retrospect, it's also going to give us a chance to really get out and do some things once we get to Chicago next year. This year was going to be a quick turnaround. We're opening a new restaurant in Orlando, and I was going to be there a lot during August, September, October, probably really through the end of the year. So what we were going to do was we're going to fly up on a Friday night after I'd worked on Friday. I was going to take Saturday off, and then we're going to fly back early Monday morning so I could work on Monday evening. So it was going to be a quick trip. We weren't going to be able to see anything. We saw a few things the last time we went, but we weren't really going to be able to see anything. Just get up there, get to the expo on Saturday, get to the race on Sunday, and get back to where we'll be living at that point in Orlando by Monday. And so what we decided was I would defer that entry until next year. Then I'll take a week off. We'll go up there. We'll see some things until about Friday. And then Friday, Saturday, I'll rest, get ready for the race, and just plan to have a great race because I'm planning on Chicago 2021, my goal race to qualify for the Boston Marathon. All I have to do, I'll be 54 that year, and so next year. So when the race is run, so all I'll have to do is qualify for Boston is to run it in 3 hours and 30 minutes or less, which I know I can do. So that's the goal for next year, is run Chicago and run it in a time that I can qualify for Boston. So I wasn't able to, fulfill my goal for Chicago Marathon this year, but that's okay. I'll do it next year. Another thing that kind of really hit hard during these last couple of months is my work situation. I know we've shared some of that already. Chrissy shared some of it in the blog. I think I have too. And our restaurant currently is in a mall in the big gallery in Houston, and so there are no outside entrances for our restaurant. If the mall shuts down, our restaurant has to shut down because they lock all the doors, and nobody's able to get in or out. So starting in the middle of March 17th, the mall closed, so our restaurant closed down, and I really didn't know what I was going to do for the next 6 months. Next 6 months. What's next? We thought it was just going to be a couple of weeks, and then it turned out to be 6 weeks. So I really didn't know what I was going to do. We knew we were good for April and probably May and some of June because we had some money saved up. We worked through ynab, which is an excellent program. It keeps you 1 month ahead on your money. That's how you plan in ynab. You plan to be, the money you're making this month is to be used for next month, not this month. So we were already at least 2 months ahead. So we know we were good for a couple of months, but after that, we knew we had moving expenses. We knew we had things coming up that we were going to need to do and we were going to need to have money for, and being off for an extended period of time wasn't going to get that done. And so my boss, my operator, is really good friends with all the operators here in Houston, and she talked to one of her friends and said, "Hey, we'd love to have Joel for a few weeks, even if it's just for 1 or 2 weeks. We'd love to have him." And to be honest with you, I loved having the income. Now it was a cut in hours and a cut in pay, but it was enough that we came out we're going to come out on the other side ahead of where we thought we would be as far as our finances go. Because what I'll make there this week for last week, because our restaurant opened back up this week in the Galleria. But what I made there last week will be enough to fund us all the way through June without touching any of our savings, without touching our rebate check that we got from the government that most people are calling the stimulus check. We're not going to be able to touch. We're not going to have to touch that because we were able to take another job and make some money elsewhere. And just thanks to the thoughtfulness and generosity of my operator on some other things as well, then we were able to not have to touch any of our savings or our stimulus money. So that was a good thing. It threw us for a loop. The first couple of weeks we didn't know what we were going to do. I looked into a couple of things that I could do temporarily, but staying with another Chick-fil-A restaurant was in the end the better way to go. And so we did that, and we're excited about what we did there, what I did there. I'm excited about that. Met some good people, worked with some good people, but I'm glad to be back at my own restaurant now. And then the third thing is, all of you know that we're moving in a couple of weeks, so we have to get packed. We have to get our apartment packed up. We have to get everything ready to go in a certain amount of time. We thought the new restaurant wasn't going to open until the middle of August. Now they're pushing for a end of July opening. So we thought we had more time than we did, and now we don't. And so. And now with me back working, it's working full-time hours now again, and overtime. Then it's not causing us to be behind on our packing, but I don't have as much time personally to help pack. I do it when I come in the evenings on the days that I'm off. I do that because I do try to still take a day off, even working as many hours as I do, and so. So moving kind of threw us for a loop because we thought we had more time, and now we don't have as much time, and so we're trying to make sure we get those things done so that we can get down there in a timely fashion. Because there's a lot of things that we have to do, a lot of pre-work that I have to do before the new store opens, before the new restaurant opens, to make sure things run smoothly when it does open. So kind of juggling two things right now as far as restaurants go, but it's exciting because I like to work and I like what I do. So. Juggling a lot of responsibilities is not difficult for me, and it's not burdensome for me either. So I love to do it. So so those are some things that have kind of hit us in the last 6 weeks to 2 months, and it's kind of thrown us for a loop a little bit. I wouldn't say stress us out because I'm kind of an even keel guy. I don't let things bother me a lot. If it does start to bother me, then you know it's really something to panic about, because I don't panic about a lot of things. However, uncertainty, I guess is the better word. There were some things that were still uncertain, and for me as a planner, I don't like things that are uncertain. I like things that, for me, I'm a math guy, I'm a numbers guy, I'm a science guy. I like the fact that 2 + 2 will always equal 4. There's nothing you can do to change that. And so I like that about my plans. My plans add up to a certain number, a certain thing, and we work those plans and we work through them, and they come out good on the other end. So when things throw us for a loop, then we have to decide, what are we going to do? Are we going to get stressed out, or are we going to work through it? We're going to roll with the punches and work through it. By the way, that's one of the tenets of ynab, is roll with the punches. Whatever your budget is, you need to roll with the punches. If some kind of emergency comes up, roll with it and go and continue going. So what do you do? I want to share with you 3 things that you can do when life throws you for a loop, when things don't go your way, when you have difficulties arise, because they will. 3 things that you can do to make your life a little bit better during those times. Number 1, call for a do-over, or as I like to say, back up and punt. If you're a sports fan, you know that metaphor. It's a football metaphor, And it means that a lot of times on third down, if a football team has a lot of yardage to go, they'll call a short pass or a run, something like that they know is not going to make the first down, and they know they're going to have to punt. And so they do that. Maybe the receiver or the runner will break it for the first down. Oftentimes they don't. So they send out the punting team, they punt it to the other team, they rely on their defense to get the ball back. And so sometimes you just have to say, I'm just going to back up and punt. I'm going to, just let this thing ride, and we're going to see what we can do. We're going to rearrange some things. We're going to call a do-over. I'm going to rearrange my life and see if I can set some new goals, or kind of reset the goals that I already have, kind of like what I did with the Chicago Marathon. But kind of just back up and punt, and just realize that things don't always go our way, and we need to make some changes at certain times. The second thing is this: realign your priorities. What's important to you? I think that's one of the biggest things that people are talking about as far as this coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic goes on. People are saying, I'm really realizing what's important to me. I'm really realizing what is important in life. I'm really realizing the important things, the important people, and the important happenings that go on in life. And it's not always what you think. And so you need to realign your priorities. Find out what's really important to you and focus on those things. Find out what's really meaningful in your life and focus on those things, and cut out everything else. Yeah, it's good to have some fun. Yeah, it's good to do this and to do that. But if it doesn't align with your priorities of your life, and if it doesn't align with your core values, and if it doesn't align with your vision and your purpose for your life, cut it out. There's no reason to have it. So go down through your priorities and say, this is a priority in my life. This is a priority in life. This is something that I do in my life. And those things that don't align with your priorities, cut them out. Realign your priorities. When things don't go your way, realign who you are, what you're meant to do, your priorities in your life, and go do those things. And the third thing is this: push through. You know what? I say this a lot, but and I know it's taken out of context, but it's funny. One of the verses in the Bible says, and it came to pass, which means to me, it didn't come to stay. It came to pass. It came to be here for a short period of time, and then it's going to leave. This pandemic at some point is going to leave. It's going to lessen. It may not totally leave. I hope it does, but it's going to lessen. The focus on it is going to get less. The media is going to report on it less. The politicians are going to focus on it less, especially if we move into more important things like an election coming up and all these other things. It's going to find less importance in our lives as things begin to die down, and as we begin to get out and realign our priorities and do those things that are important to us. But what we have to realize is that when difficulties come, we have to push through. It came to pass. It didn't come to stay. You're going to make it through it. The phrase we've all heard, we're going to get through this together. Push through. Just realize that things aren't going to stay like they are forever. Once you realign your priorities, once you call for your do-over, or once you back up and punt, push through. You can make it. You can do it. You have the strength to do it. And so we just want to make sure that we're pushing through the difficulties in our lives. Whatever happens, we know that they're going to come. We know that things are going to not always go our way, and we have to push through. We have to be strong enough to do that. Push through. So those are just a few things. Maybe you can think of some things that you've done that are helping you through this pandemic time, through the stay-at-home orders, through the coronavirus, whatever it is. Comment below and let me know what you're doing to push through. Let me know what you're doing to realign your priorities. Let me know what you're doing to call a do-over, or to back up and punt, or maybe there's something else that you've thought of that you're doing to help you through this time. Comment below and let me know that. I'd love to hear from you. Also, don't forget, there's going to be some videos floating around here. Click on one of those for more content from us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications for updates from us. And I think that's all for today for The Long Run with Joel and Chrissy. I'm Joel, flying solo. We'll see you next time. Bye.